Good morning. I'm Kevin Kitagawa, and I'll be your chairperson for today's Hoonko Service. And welcome for coming out on this actually beautiful day for this morning service. And before we actually begin this morning service, just a reminder that there'll be no food and drinks in the hondo. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on silent. Okay, thank you very much. Now I'd like to actually welcome Reverend Mikame, who will explain the meaning and significance of the Okumotsu that will decorate the Onishi this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here for the special service called Hoonko. This is a memorial service for Shinran Shoni, who is a founder of a tradition, and today is the most important day for Jodo Shinshu tradition. And it is a time to remember and give thanks for teachings that Shinran Shonin shared with us. For Hoonko, yesterday many people, especially members of BWA, helped clean and prepare the Naijin and like decorations, gold pieces. And can you see how clean and shiny it looks today? Did you notice that? And in just a moment, we will place the Okumotsu offerings, and Naijin will become even more beautiful, gorgeous. Okay, as Rinban Adams shared in his Dharma talk last week, these offerings are not just decorations. Okumotsu offerings are special offerings that we prepare for the important services. And they express our gratitude, our way of saying thank you to Amida Buddha and Shinran Shonin. For this special day, Dharma school kids and the teachers worked so hard together to make offerings using snacks and chocolate, like sweets, chocolates. Thank you very much, everybody, for your hard work today. And then I truly appreciate your efforts in making our Hoonko special and colorful once again. And then in a moment, representatives from each grade, each class will bring the offerings forward. And please think, all right. And then let's think. People often think the ministers know everything about the temple, like Buddhism. Maybe Rinban does, but I noticed that I don't. A few days ago, there was a big Hoonko service at Nishi Honganji in Kyoto, Japan, and I watched it on YouTube. While I was watching, I noticed something new. And I saw the offerings, Okumotsu, were placed all around the Amida Buddha's altar, like a circle. And I also saw the offerings placed in front of Shinran Shonin. So until last year, here in San Jose, we have placed offerings in front of each altar. But I learned that these offerings are really meant to be placed for Amida Buddha and Shinran Shonin, especially because today we are focusing on Shinran Shonin and Amida Buddha. So from this year, we'll place the 4 altars around Amida Buddha altar and the 2 offerings in front of Shinran Shonin altar. So we are still learning together. So yeah. And then please take a look carefully at the Naijin and then see what you notice. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Mikame. We will now begin the presentation of the Okumotsu. First are preschool and kindergarten class. Okay, next, 2nd and 3rd grade class. Okay, 4th grade class. Fifth grade class. fifth and sixth grade class, sorry. Okay, seventh and eighth grade class. And the high school class. Okay, thank you, representatives. The Betsuin Choir will now perform with an introduction by Dennis Akizuki.
Good morning. The Sensei Betsuin Choir will perform two pieces this morning. The first piece is entitled Vandana Tisarana. The Vandana is an ancient chant that praises the Buddha. In the chant of Tisarana, we take refuge in the three treasures, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Vandana and Tisarana are sung in Pali, which is the language of the ancient Buddhist scriptures, Japanese, and in English. The final selection will be verses 3 to 5 of In Praise of Shinran. Gratitude goes to the Hawaii Music Committee for this English translation of Hoonko no Uta. And by the way, we'll be actually singing the first two verses a little bit later in Japanese. The choir is directed by Elaine Jones and accompanied by Branding Livingston.
Okay, the service will now continue with Sanbujo, which is on page 24, okay, in the large service book, followed by Sutra Chanting, Sanbutsuge, on page 22 in the small Dharma school service book, and page 79 in the large service book. Okay, we'll now have Daihyo Shoko, incense offering by the following organizations. Cub Scout Pack 611. Boy Scout Troop 611. Daisy Troop. Okay, Brownie Troop. Cadet Troop. Okay, Senior Girl Scout Troop, Ambassador Troop. Lotus Preschool. San Jose Dharma School. Preschool and kindergarten class. Second and third grade class. Okay, fourth grade class. Fifth and sixth grade class. Seventh and eighth grade class. High school class. Dharma School Parents Organization. Adult Buddhist Association. Morgan Hill Hoakai. Buddhist Women's Association. San Jose Betsuin. Okay, now please rise to sing the first two verses of the Gatha Hoonko no Uta on page 220 in the large service book. 260, okay. And after the song, after the Gatha, please remain standing for the three treasures, which is on page 3 in the small Dharma school service book.
Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda.
Okay, now Rinban Adams will give the Dharma message.
Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Please join me in Gassho. Such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return it, even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and true teachers that we must endeavor to repay it, even to our bones becoming dust. Good morning, everyone. Minasan ohayou gozaimasu. What a wonderful gathering as we observe our Hoonko service. This, in our Jodo Shinshu tradition, is considered to be our most significant service because this is the service in which we express our gratitude to Shinran Shonin on the occasion of his memorial service. Does anyone know where you can find an image of Shinran Shonin here at the Betsuin? Anyone know? Yeah, oh, somebody pointed right here. See, Mikame Sensei and I put all of the Okumotsu up, of course, as Sensei said, in front of Amida Buddha, but also here on the right side, there's an image of Shinran Shonin. There's another one. Do you know where the other one is? Yep, Gilbert knows. It's right out in the garden. Right out in the garden, there's a statue of Shinran Shonin. If you look at Shinran Shonin in the statue, do you know what he looks like? He's wearing something kind of special. He's wearing a really big hat. He's holding a staff because Shinran Shonin was a traveler. Right? He was a traveler, and he crossed over to the other shore. He died 764 years ago, but we say he was born into the Pure Land, born into the Pure Land. So in Buddhism, death and birth are not opposites, but rather when someone dies, we say a great change occurs in their life and the lives of those who are close to them. They're no longer physically here, but they're still very much a part of our lives. So today, I want to share some of my appreciation for Shinran Shonin, why we depict him as a traveler, and why all these years later, 764 years later, we're still remembering, reflecting upon his lives. He's brought us all here. He still has the power to move us, to bring us from all over the Santa Clara Valley here, to gather here at this temple. Some people are even taking time, and they're here with us over the internet together in this moment because of Shinran Shonin and how special he was. So we look to his teachings for guidance because the Nembutsu teaching he shared helps us to live this human life, to live this precious life. In the words of the three treasures I just read, hard is it to be born into human life. We have this precious gift of life. How are we going to make the most of this life? These teachings also provide comfort and guidance for us when a loved one, someone close to us, passes away, when we face difficulties and challenges in our lives. So this is really kind of a service about life. What is life about? So I want to take a little bit of time first to talk about what is life. And I want to think about what is it to be alive in this world. So if we think about wild land animals that live on the land, so not including like fish and whales and things like that, but do you know which species of creature has the greatest biomass? You know what biomass is? Like if you add all of these animals up, they weigh more than if you add different groups of other animals up. So do you know which one is the most? Insects. A specific, you're right, it's insects, but there's a specific kind of insect. It's a kind of ant. Termites. Termites have the most, there's more mass of termites on this planet than any other living land animal. So the biomass of termite life, 80 million tons. 80 million tons of termites. Some people might feel like some of those tons are in their own house sometimes, right? Don't like termites, but the biomass of human life, only 60 million tons, right? Way more termites. Now, do you think every single person has a name? Yeah, everybody has a name, right? How about every single termite? You see a termite in your yard, oh, look, it's termite Fred, right? No, right? Right? But we humans, we love to categorize and label things, to say how much is there, what kind is it, give it a name. We even do this with things that we can't even see with our eyes, things like air, right? The air around us, we don't think of that as my air or your air. Get out of my air. Stop breathing my air, right? We don't think like that. But if you blow air into a balloon, like at a birthday party, then all of a sudden, that air becomes someone's precious property, right? I have three kids at my house. Right? Unfortunately, they're not here today because a couple of them aren't feeling well, but they're 3 kids, and so sometimes balloons come home from parties like, no, that's my balloon. No, your balloon is the blue balloon. My balloon is that one, right? This back and forth, it becomes my. And that air inside, that becomes my balloon, right? Becomes mine. So in a way, our lives are also kind of like a balloon, right? When you blow air into it at first, it starts small, then it gets bigger, it gets shinier, it gets more kind of firm and sturdy, right? Over time, maybe it gets a little bit smaller, it's a little bit more wrinkly, it's not as shiny as it once was, right? So sometimes, right? Sometimes the air in a balloon, usually, best case scenario, balloon just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and all the air runs out, right? But sometimes even a bright, shiny new balloon can pop, right? When it's fresh. Human life also is like this. So if we think about the way Shinran Shonin moves us, in the year 2023, I was moved to go all the way to Japan to remember Shinran Shonin on the occasion of his 800-year memorial of the founding of the Jodo Shinshu teaching, and 850 years since he was born. Did anyone else go to Kyoto that year? A few of us did, right? A few of us were on that trip. So for me, I was back in Kyoto. I was staying in the same neighborhood where I used to live when I was a student at Shobukyo Gakuin, where Mikame sensei and we both studied at a certain school. And while I was there, I lived near Honganji. I lived in this neighborhood. And from where I lived, like from Honganji, that area, I could walk to Kyoto Station in about 15 minutes. So if I had an hour, I knew, okay, this is enough time for me to walk all the way to Kyoto Station, pick up a nice bento or something for lunch, have time to eat it there, walk back in an hour. And so I thought I had an hour of time in my schedule. I thought, for old time's sake, why don't I just walk down to the station? I walked down, I thought, wow, I don't remember it taking this long to get to the station. And I got there, it had taken me 30 minutes. So I had to just grab an onigiri from the 7-Eleven and just walk right back, I didn't even have time to eat it. I just had to find time later to eat it. And I realized at that time that, 15 years prior to that, my balloon had been much shinier, right? Some of the air had come out of the balloon. It wasn't as shiny. It was much softer than it used to be back when I was living in Japan, walking a lot, right? So whether the air goes out of a balloon gradually or suddenly, it won't stay there forever, right? So the question is then, what happens to the air that was inside that balloon? Is it gone? Has it disappeared? No. It's gone back to all this air all around us that we can't measure. It's gone back to this immeasurable presence. And so we talk about Amida Buddha is the Buddha of immeasurable life. When this human life comes to an end, we all return to that immeasurable life. We say we're born into Amida Buddha's world of peace and bliss. And people of the Nembutsu have an expression, they say, jinsei o ikasareru, to be allowed to live, to be supported and sustained in my life. This is what it means. This expresses the awareness that we live part of this boundless life. My life is part of this life. And so when this temporary human form passes on, then I become part of that boundless life. And so if you live in this way with this understanding, then whatever you face in life isn't quite so scary. You can live with peace of mind. You can face even hard times, difficult times, challenges, everything you can face with a deep peace of mind. Shinran Shonin is really our model for what this way of living looks like. That's why we celebrate his life on occasions like today. So Shinran Shonin, he learned how to live this way from his teacher, Honen Shonin. In the year 1207, the Sangha of Shinran Shonin's teacher, Honen, was subject to persecution. People thought this teaching is dangerous, this is disrupting the correct order of things, because Honen Shonin would teach that all people, men and women, able to realize Buddhahood, that all people who entrust deeply in the compassion of Amida Buddha can realize perfect awakening by receiving the Buddha's wisdom in their hearts and by saying, Namo Amida Butsu. So people really thought this teaching was too disruptive. And they thought, we need to put a stop to this teaching. And so eventually they managed to convince the emperor of Japan to send Honen Shonin and Shinran Shonin far away. They took away their robes, their monks' robes. They said, you guys can't be monks and priests anymore. You have to go live far away from the capital. You have to go live in another country. Because at that time in Japan, each province was like a country. The word we use for country now, kuni, in Japanese, they would say, different places would be Tosa no kuni or Echigo no kuni. And so Shinran and Honen were sent very far away. And on the eve of when Honen Shonin was to be sent away and Shinran Shonin was to be sent in the complete opposite direction, people were really angry and upset. Can you imagine your teacher who you respected, who you loved, who had given you the piece of the Nembutsu teaching, 80-year-old man was going to be sent on a very dangerous journey. It was, in a way, people thought it was like a death sentence, because you can't expect him to manage this hard journey over. He had to travel by boat and then over land, and people were very angry. But Honen Shonin, he gathered everyone together, and he said, do not resent my being sent away. He says, I'm almost 80 years old, right? Even if we're to continue to live here together in Kyoto as we have been, my birth in the Pure Land is coming soon, right? So even if we're separated by mountains and oceans, do not doubt that we will meet again in the Pure Land. Though we may cling to life, our death will come. Though we may reject this world, our human existence carries on. So why insist on being together? And then he said something really interesting. He said, for a long time I've wanted to go out to the country, go to the countryside and share the Nembutsu with the people who work the land. But I've been so busy here in the capital. People are always coming to see me. I always have to give Dharma talks. I'm always being invited to this temple or that temple. Never had the chance to go out and share this teaching. And so now it is thanks to the generosity and the benevolence of the emperor that I'm able to go out and fulfill my long-held wish to share the Nembutsu in the countryside. So he had this way of looking at the world. Everything in his life was a karmic circumstance, an opportunity to share his joy in the Nembutsu. Shinran Shonin, he received this teaching, and he was sent far away from his teacher in the opposite direction. And it was when he arrived in the place he was sent, which is called Echigo. It's now where Niigata Prefecture is. So it's in along the Sea of Japan, in a part of Japan that's very snowy and quite cold in the winter. But he was up there, and he started to share the Nembutsu teaching. It was there that he really became a teacher in his own right. And he lived and worked with people. He spent his days with the farmers, probably working in the fields, but also sharing the Nembutsu teaching. And they came to respect and appreciate him so much that when a group of them decided, we're going to move from here, we're going to go to a new place called Kamakura. So we're going to move to another country again, and we're going to start a new life. because they're building a new city there, the new capital, and they need hardworking farmers like us to go and travel. So Shinran Shonin, he joined this group of his friends, and he traveled with them. So this was, these days we call this group of people immigrants, people who move from one country to another to seek a better life, to contribute to that life there. Like many of our families came here to this country, came here to this area. Right? So Shinran Shonin, he joined this community of travelers. And when they arrived, of course, there were already people living there. And they worked with them and they lived with them. But people were interested in Shinran because at that point he was again wearing his robes. His exile and all of that had been, finally that his sentence had sort of been completed, and they say, okay, you can go back to being a monk. And so he was wearing his monk's robes. And so in that area of the Kanto area, people really respected a certain priest by the name of Bennen. And Bennen, it said he had 800 followers, which was a huge group back then, like a temple with 800 members. They all followed Bennen because Bennen was said to have amazing powers. He was called a Yamabushi. He lived up in the mountains. He wore animal skins. He did very difficult practices. He would stand and meditate under, freezing cold, falling waterfalls. Right? He would go and do very difficult things that normal people couldn't do. And so people recognized and said, he has special powers from his practices. He can do things like cure illness if he says a prayer for you. He can cause it to rain if we don't have enough rain for our crops. And so when people had hard times and difficulties, they would go to Bennen and they would ask him, use your special powers. Use your special powers to help us, to help make our lives better. So Bennen would receive a donation, he would do the ritual, the chanting, he would say a prayer. Sometimes the person's family would get better, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes the rains would come, sometimes they wouldn't. But people, they remembered those times when it worked. They were like, oh, Bennen, we've got to keep trusting Bennen, keep supporting Bennen, and keep him doing those practices and prayers for us. And then Shinran appeared, and he didn't live way up in the mountains, he lived with the people. And so they were like, oh, you're right here. Can you do something special for me? My uncle is very sick. Can you say a special prayer to make him better? Shinran said, no, that's not really what I do. Oh, okay, but it hasn't rained in a while. Can you make it rain? No, I don't do things like that. But you're dressed like a priest, right? Yeah, I'm a priest. Well, what do you do? What's your special power? Shinran said, well, I have no power myself, but Amida Buddha has tremendous power, and I receive that power in my heart. Oh, can Amida Buddha cure illness? No. Can Amida Buddha make it rain? No. But if we have that power of Amida Buddha in our hearts, we know that even though all of us will someday get sick, we're always going to face difficulties, times like drought, no rain, these challenges. But if we have Amida Buddha's wisdom in our hearts, if we know that we'll get through it if we help each other out, then we can face all those challenges with peace of mind. People would hear Shinran Shonin talk about the Nembutsu teaching, talk about Amida Buddha in this way. They would get that peace of mind, and they didn't feel like they had to go all the way up to see Bennen anymore. And Bennen slowly started to notice, there used to be 800 people would come here when I was doing a prayer. And lately there's been maybe like 300-400 coming. What's happening? What's going on? So he asked his disciples, his followers, where is everybody? They say, oh, well, there's this new teacher in town. His name is Shinran. So yeah, Shinran, what kind of special powers does he have? Well, that's the thing. He doesn't seem to have special powers, but he's got everybody going around town saying, Namman Dabutsu, Namman Dabutsu. And they very much seem to be at peace, and they seem very happy. Namman Dabutsu. What's this all about? Well, he says that if you trust in Amida Buddha and you say Namo Amida Butsu, then you'll become a Buddha yourself. You'll realize birth in the Pure Land, awakening, lasting peace of mind. Bennen said, that's preposterous. Right? I'm going to have a word with this Shinran fellow. Where does he travel? He says, well, he walks back and forth on Itajiki Mountain. He says, okay, I'll wait for him. I'll find him there. So Bennen waited with his bow and arrow ready for Shinran Shonin. And he waited on the south side of the mountain. He waited and he waited all day long. No Shinran. So he went back and he says, you guys said he traveled on Itajiki Mountain. He says, yeah, were you on the north or the south side? He's like, oh, I was on the south side. Well, yesterday he went on the north side. Okay, so he waited on the north side. Waited. No Shinran. He went back. What's going on? Where was Shinran? So, remember that path you were waiting on yesterday? Yeah, he took that one. And so back and forth like this for 10 days, finally Bennen lost patience. And he went to Shinran's house. Oi, Shinran, dete koi! Come on out, Shinran. Got some words for you. Right? He was ready to kill Shinran. Nobody answered the door, and so he just broke down the door. He came charging in with his sword drawn. And Shinran's companions all took one look and like, whoa! And they ran for it. Right? Only Shinran remained calm, seated. He says, hi, who are you? I'm Bennen. He says, oh, Bennen, I've heard of you. I thought you might stop by. Well, here, would you like me to offer you a cup of tea? And Bennen was like, well, I came to kill you. He says, well, I find that the matters of birth and death, I leave those entirely up to Amida Buddha. When our time to pass from this world arrives, nothing we can do to stop it. So I'm here living with peace of mind. But I'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. And so Bennen, who came in, charging, ready to fight, ready to kill, he met Shinran, and Shinran gave him this warm welcome. He expected somebody who was going to fight with him, right? But Shinran welcomes him because Shinran has this awareness of immeasurable life. He's able to meet people without any fear, without any aggression. Even people who come at him, attacking him, he's able to talk to them and listen to them. And Bennen says, well, I hear you've been telling people that everyone who says Namo Amida Butsu can be born in the Pure Land. Shin says, well, the important thing is to entrust in the Buddha. But if from that entrusting Namo Amida Butsu comes out, then yes, birth in the Pure Land is assured for everyone. He says, and so you're willing to talk to me even though I'm here, somebody ready to kill you? Shinran said, yes, because I believe no one is left out. Everyone is embraced. And so when Bennen heard this, he realized that this is a true teacher. He dropped his sword, he set down his bow, and he asked to become Shinran's disciple. And Shinran, here he says something really interesting. He says, I don't even have one disciple because the teaching I receive is Amida Buddha's wisdom directly from the Buddha. You and I are now fellow travelers in the Nembutsu. Let us be friends. Let us journey together in this life. And so Bennen becomes one of Shinran's closest companions. He changes his name to Myohobo, the marvelous Dharma. Marvelous Dharma. And he accompanies Shinran throughout his life, and he's there with him in his times of difficulty. Now, Shinran Shonin's teachings, his life, they show us that when we have this deep, settled peace of mind that we receive in the Nembutsu, even somebody who comes at us as an adversary, somebody we're going to fight with, that we can find a way to journey together with them in their life. They might even become a companion, somebody who can help us on our path. I feel like this is a teaching we really need these days. This teaching of Shinran Shonin. One of my ministers who I really look up to, Reverend Matsumoto, he said that the work of sharing Shinran's teachings is the most important thing that we can do in this world. So I'm truly grateful to all of you for gathering here together to hear the wisdom of Shinran Shonin and to carry this out into this world in which we live so that we too can live as fellow travelers in the Nembutsu. So with deep gratitude, I thank you very much for being here with us today to observe our Hoonko service, and I invite you to join me in Gassho and let us together hear the voice of the Buddha in the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Rinban Adams, for such a wonderful Dharma message. Okay, so please rise for the singing of the Gatha Ondokusan II on page 76 in the Small Dharma School Service Book.
来大日の音読は身横にしてもほずべし知識の音読も骨を砕きてもシャスべしナマンダ仏ナマンダ仏ナマンダ仏ナマンダ仏ナマンダ仏
Okay, are there any announcements?
Good morning. This is Gilbert Greeter again. It's always my pleasure standing by the door to meet our new friends. Today, I would like to welcome a family, a big family. I'll let Kyle introduce his family. In the back. Are they? Oh. Oh. Okay.
It's our first time here, and it's very nice. Enjoy you very much. Thank you.
Okay, good. Since I was multitasking, do I miss any new friends today? Okay, well, we welcome all. Please join us at after service social. Today's social will be at the conference room in the office building. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jillian.
I'm Madeline, and we're from the San Jose Junior YBA, and we want to let you know that we're going to have our spaghetti dinner on February 7th in the church gym and dine-in is at 4:30 p.m. to 6:45 p.m.
Takeout will be 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The tickets are $12 each, and we are selling them over by the garden, in front of the garden, and we're going to be selling them this week and next week. And there's also a QR code if you would like to order them online. And then the sales are going to end January 31st. Thank you. We hope to see you there.
Hello, my name is Abraham from Dharma School 5th and 6th grade class. The Dharma School is working on a all Dharma School die project. We will be making pet toys for a local animal shelter from old towels. We are accepting for donations of old towels. The animal shelter will also accept fleece blankets for their animals. So we will also be collecting those to give to them. Thank you.
My name is Bryson Ide. Troop 611 will be having their electronic waste collection event on Saturday, January 31st at the Education Building parking lot across the street. Thank you for your support.
Boy Scout Troop 611 will also be hosting our annual steak dinner on March 14th. There will be dine-in and takeout, and orders will start this week. We'll also be selling in front of the church this upcoming Sunday service. Thank you.
Good morning, Jeannie Nakano for Sunday refreshments. Now today is a New Year's luncheon, so many of you will be exiting and heading into the annex building. But the rest of us, you're going to join us for refreshments in the conference room. And I know some of the children who were here through the entire service may want to join us, because I'm not sure if your DSPO refreshments are still continuing, because it's close to 11:30. So you can join us if you'd like in the conference room. Now this is the exit plan and the entrance plan. You're going to exit here after you greet the reception line. You're going to go to the front of the office. Go through those front doors, stay to the left, go down a short hallway, and make a left turn, and you'll be in the conference room. And to exit, you'll exit the other door, and you'll exit through the front door. Now, those of you who are regulars here know there's a different path, and it's okay if you want to take that path. But for the rest of you, join us. We're looking forward to you. There'll be 3 of us greeting you this morning, okay? See you then.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just making an announcement again about our art contest for Eco Sanghas and the Dharma School for Earth Day. Earth Day this year is March 22nd, sorry. And it's earlier because of the building we're going to be building here, education, and so we have to do it a little earlier. So March 22nd is when we have this, the art contest is going to end and be presented, actually. You have to submit your art project by the 15th, okay? And the art project, the theme this year is Only One Earth, okay? So this is, you know, we got to realize that we only have this earth, and if we don't keep it nice and clean, and we're not going to have it as well as, we're not going to have one for our generations beyond us. So we want you to recycle things and make an art project that recycles something and makes something new, or make it something that you can reuse again. You know, maybe a rice sack and make it into a purse, whatever. You know, it's up to you, and there's prizes involved in this too. So you can get the form out in the back, and it's in the newsletter. So get your thinking cap on, and let's see what you can come up with. Okay, thank you.
Speaking of making the world a better place, I'm May Kawamoto, formerly Dharma School Superintendent, but I want to announce that Linda Ichinaga has offered to step up and become our superintendent. I will still be teaching 4th grade, but Linda will be taking on the superintendent role, so you'll see her name on the emails that you all received, so just letting you all know. Thank you to Linda.
I just want to say that I think we need to say thank you to May for all the years that she's done superintendent for Dharma School. I have super big shoes to fill because she would do anything and everything for Dharma School. And I think, and if she asks you to do something and you say, oh no, I can't do it, I'm too busy, she would do it. You know, so she put on a lot on her shoulders, and unfortunately, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to spread the wealth because I believe it takes a village. Okay, and the more you get involved, the more you feel a part of Dharma School and part of the church. So if I come to you and I ask you something, I'm not going to take, I can't do it. Okay, I want to know what you can do. Okay, so thank you.
Hello, I'm Holly Lowe from BWA, and every year we do a Donna project, and this year our Donna project is collecting food for the Spartan Food Bank, which is San Jose State. And I believe there was a flyer in the Dharma that's set to drop the food off at San Jose State, but we'll be collecting it here at the church. There'll be bins or boxes in the office and maybe hopefully in the gym that you can collect. And it's till the end of February. So thank you.
Good morning. Earlier, Reverend Mikame mentioned that yesterday we did something called omigaki, where we took down elements out of the Naijin and brought them over, and the BWA cleaned them up and so on. And I want to thank the BWA for their work yesterday. It went off very well. It was done very quickly. But this is very important. We do this once a year, and it helps us keep the Naijin looking nice and helps make sure that we protect all of the articles and artifacts that we have in the Naijin. So I really appreciate everybody's help with that. Thank you for making quick work of it, and we look forward to your help in years to come. Thank you.
Hi, Larry Honda. Looks like I'm finally the last one. Just a short announcement. So as I announced last Sunday, we're holding a One Sangha event on the 25th, so that's again next Sunday in 7 days. And we're doing this it's a dual purpose event. We are welcoming our new Rinban, Reverend Henry Adams, here. And we are also bidding a fond farewell to Reverend Mikame. So the theme in terms of the food is over rice. So we're going to have 3 things that you can get over rice. It'll be curry, I think it's a vegetarian curry, a turkey chili, and shoyu wieners. So you don't have to bring anything, okay? Free lunch, 49ers out of the playoffs, so you don't have an excuse not to show up because of that reason. Sorry, I'm a Raiders fan. Anyway, so I'm more depressed than the Niners fans. So anyway, hopefully you can join us next week. It should be a fun event, and look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Rinban Adams, Reverend Mikame, Reverend Jones, Reverend Sakamoto, Dennis Akizuki, Matthew Rowling, the Betsuin Choir, Organist Michael Yoshihara, and AV Coordinator Steve Onishi. Okay, thanks for attending this morning's service. We'll now have closing Gassho. Okay, please come forward for incense offering and join us in the refreshments in the conference room located in the office.
Bulldog, yeah.